everyone! Today I'm going to be talking about book-to-movie adaptations and some of my favorites, some of my least favorites, and some of the most anticipated adaptations in my mind right now. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first book I have is If I Stay by Gail Forman. They adapted this with Chloe Grace Moretz and I really liked it. Honestly, I loved this book because I'm a cellist, so to have a book about a cellist was just like cool for me. So I enjoyed reading it, but in a way I actually liked it better after I saw the movie, which is kind of a weird thing, but something about it felt more impactful for me. I felt a lot more emotion just throughout it, and in all the sad parts I just felt them a lot more, which sometimes you feel when you read and sometimes you feel more when you see something. And so for me, this was one of those books. Next up is a book that if you haven't read, you totally should, especially if you like science fiction. Dune by Frank Herbert. This is a big book, okay? It's big. It's a long read. And it's also classic. It's known as science fiction's supreme masterpiece. And they adapted it way back, I think in the 90s at some point, and I haven't seen the whole thing, but I know Margaret Stohl, the author of the Black Widow series and co-author of Beautiful Creatures, told me that it is so awful, it's fantastic. Eragon is a book that they should remake in a movie form. They made a movie of Eragon, and it is so terrible. I wish I didn't know it existed. I love the Eragon series, The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, and it's so awesome. If you haven't read it and you like dragons or anything, oh, it's so worth it. I love it. The movie adaptation was nothing like the book for the most part. There was all this weird stuff, and I don't even know what happened. It's one of those where you see, okay, this is where maybe someone didn't have much idea for a movie, but they had a basic storyline that was similar enough that they just decided to make it a remake so that there wasn't copyright issues or something. I don't know if that's what happened, but you know, theories. Next up is another book-to-movie adaptation that I really loved, and that is Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think it's another good example of what to do with an adaptation. Charlie is writing to this friend, telling these stories, and so it gives the perfect ability to kind of pick and choose where to put things, what to not include, and I think it's really good for looking at how this style can be adapted. This book is finally coming to screens in February of 2018, I believe, and that is The Death Cure! Woo! Finally! If you didn't know, of course they made Maze Runner and Scorched Trials, but then Dylan O'Brien got in an accident while they were actually working on filming, I believe, for The Death Cure, and so that pushed everything back. Scorched Trials was a little for me as far as how they've kind of changed some character. I'm really excited to see what they do with The Death Cure. It's going to be really hard for me to read, watch, because there's something that happens, if you've read the books and all that caused me severe stress for a long time, actually. But, you know, I'm all for some Dylan O'Brien and Thomas Brodie-Sangster. This next book is a book that would make a great TV series and would not be my favorite, I don't think, but I would watch the crap out of it. And that is the Selection series. Basically, if they made this into a series, it would be like The Bachelor, but in a palace. And I think it would be absolutely hilarious. I think it'd be a great way to kind of get this book out there for people who are like, yeah, reading. Interesting thing to see. So we'll see if it goes anywhere, and I definitely will keep an eye out if it does, because like I said, I will watch it. I will. Now this next book is at the bottom of one of my piles, so I'm just grabbing the most recent release, but that is the Gallagher Girl series by Allie Carter. This is the last book, United We Spy. The first book is I'd Tell You I Love You, but then I'd Have to Kill You. This series is so awesome. Like, I can't even explain to you guys how cool Allie Carter is. She writes the best kind of teen, like, spy books, and this whole series is about an all-girls spy school, essentially. And it's a great group of characters, amazing development. Honestly, this is something my sister and I have dreamed about, oh my gosh, is the adaptation of these books. The next book I want to talk about is buried at the bottom of one of my other stacks, and I really don't want to reorganize all my books, so I'm just going to tell you, but that is the Whispers of the Fallen series. Shout out to J.D. Netto. It's a awesome series. If you haven't read it, you should totally go read it. So there's angel devil stuff, all this crazy stuff, and it's mind-blowing. It's super cool to read. I feel like it'd be quite a spectacle to see on screen, and I don't know if they'll do anything with it, but I'm rooting for you, JD. So the next one is Kendra looking for an excuse to talk about this book series again, but that is the Red Rising trilogy. It has such a near and dear place in my heart, and it is going to be adapted at some point in the near future, so I don't know how it's gonna work, but it's a book that I'm concerned about being adapted because it's so packed full of stuff that I don't know how you can do that in under 3 hours. Pierce Brown, the author, is writing the screenplay, which I love. His visions are amazing. I have a lot of faith in this adaptation for that reason. If they adapt it, it's going to be awesome. That much I know. These next two books are both acclaimed adaptations, and I know there's many that are popular and things like that, but these are two series that I really feel deserve a little chatting about. First off, The Lord of the Rings. Now, I actually read the books before I saw all of the movies. It was one of the series that I was so impressed with. The creative team and everyone that went into putting this movie together was so into it and so determined to make it the best that they could, and I think that's really what made it, or what makes it such an incredible series both to read and to watch. On the flip side, the Hobbit adaptations were some of my least favorite, honestly. I liked the first part, the second part was okay. The Battle of Five Armies ruined it for me. I think that really shows how much difference a single movie can make to the overall appearance. This next book is one of, if not the most acclaimed adaptations in this day and age, and that is the Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin, or as some people call him, Grr Martin. I am done with the first book, finally, but I actually just recently started season 1 with my mom. So far, I am so impressed with the adaptation. I mean, it's so spot on that it really proves how good TV adaptations can be in comparison to movies. Now, the last book I'm going to talk about is currently being filmed as we speak in Montreal, Canada, with two of my favorite actors, so I am so excited for this adaptation. I love this author, he's absolutely amazing, and that is the Chaos Walking series by Patrick Ness. It's starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley, who are, oh my gosh, I love them both so much, for so many reasons, and I am more than excited to see how this movie is brought to life. So one of the big parts of it is that you can, the characters can hear everything going on in other people's heads, so there's this constant, like, white noise, and so I'm like, how are they gonna do this? I'm so excited. That is all I have to talk about as far as book-to-movie adaptations or book-to-television adaptations, and I really hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making this video and kind of reflecting on all the books that I'd love to see adapted, ones that will be, ones that have been. So I hope you guys enjoyed this just as much as I did. I know it was a bit longer, but I have a lot of videos coming up. I've had so much more time to film stuff and work on stuff, so I'm really excited about that. And be sure to check out my blog for when I post things. I have my link to feminist apparel in the description. Gotta check it out. I hope to have some fun stuff for you guys in the future. I hope to go to Disney soon again and kind of do a vlog, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week, great year, 2017. Woo. Man, 2017. Stay safe, keep reading, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!